Well, hello everyone. Here, right here, I'm talking about for holidays right here, and I'm sure that most of us are familiar with like Father's Day holiday, talking about with President Obama right here, and it could also be President Clinton, and like everybody might even say too that when we do speak about the Father's Day holiday a lot of times, that you're always thinking as to where that it pretty much means it's a tradition for the dads, but like everybody might even say too that could also be a bias as to where that you actually try to surprise surprises, right? And a lot of times it's like the story kind of goes by is toward you had the daughter, you got the daughter, the child or the grandchild, they're going to want to go ahead and surprise the parents in some way. And a lot of times it sure seems that way that back whenever you were growing up, that you can remember mommy and daddy were taking care of a lot of things for you, including taking care of the bills, and of course taking care of things around the house, at home and all that, and so that's why it seems like that. Whenever you do think about that you're worrying to where that you have your children that want to surprise you. So it's like a lot of times it's like Father's Day is also supposed to be about a day where you do you necessarily get daddy something. Do you buy daddy something, order daddy something, and maybe surprise daddy with something? And a lot of times it's like, well, really, but you talk about right here, talk about for endorsement, right? And everybody might even say too that really, what does it mean to endorse a candidate for a job? And it's like, it's another way of how you want to call it, for recommended. And like everybody might say that you may see that a lot whenever it comes to broadcast television, and also if it's going to be the Democrat or Republican parties and newscast stations, like on a profile, you usually see that where it talks about endorsement right there. So really, what does that usually mean? And like everybody might even say too that it pretty much means as to where it's you would like to pass those share those skills with some, like you would like to mention it, and it's like that's pretty much what it means as to where that you are willing to. It's like a credit, and like everybody, if you want to look at it, it's like a credit right here. So I can include right here, talk about for a credit. It's a credit, and then also something like if you want to put on here, credit, and then also it's another way of how you want to call it as toward it. When we talk about endorsing somebody, you're like whenever it comes to understanding about for endorsement right here, what exactly it can mean a number of things really, but could also be for reference. And actually some professionals would probably even say too that it's known as for a references, credits and references. So each time you think about that, and you're 102, credits and references. And, credits and references, what does that mean? Well, that pretty much means is toward, somebody, someone else. Someone, just by how well this person knows your work very well. So every time you think about that, and you're 102, that do you think like everybody else would say is to where if you were to design a greeting card, something like that right there, to where that whenever you do think about that, and you're warned to where a greeting card, that you have credits and references right here. Yeah, someone else recommends that you to do this work right here just because. I'm like, yeah, you got an extra 2. I'm like, yeah, for words right here. But still, it's like so each time you think about that, and you're 102 that whenever it comes to endorsement, and I'm so yeah, a lot of things that you can remember reading about in the papers and even in the catalogs, and you're warned toward yeah. Well, what about talk about for children, grandchildren, something for the grandkids to understand, and also something for the children to understand. Whenever you're much younger, of course, there are a lot of things that you just don't quite understand. But it's like, yeah, so every time you think about that, then you're warned to where that, yeah, Father's Day. Can Father's Day also be known as a day toward it, to where the dads would know is toward it, yeah, that, not only that daddy taught me how to do this, but then also I learned how to do this, from my daughter, from my daughter and from my son. So it's like, yeah, so each time you do think about that, and you're 102 is to where that you think about Father's Day holiday, Obama right here, but then also I have right here Mike talking about surprises, and it's like so in case of anybody that may want to know too that if you were to try to show your dad something and you ask them to close their eyes, please close your eyes. I'd like to show you a surprise right here. So it's like, yeah, you mind if I wink? No, I said, so a lot of times it's like, yeah, everybody might even want to know too that whenever your parents wink their eyes a lot of times, what does that necessarily mean most of the time? Well, that pretty much means is toward, yeah, that, it was, nice talking to you, or the, charming to know you, or something like that. So it's like, so it can mean a number of things. But it's like, yeah, so, you want to know, too, that whenever you do talk to other members of the party, like if you're going to be talking to, other, people, the Americans, and also if you're going to be talking to other members of the team, that, you might wink your eye, you wink your eye, and, like, yeah, it's another, I guess you say it's another source of communication, right? And so it's like, so each time I think about that, and 102 is toward it that yeah, you go ahead and put together a greeting card right here, and everybody might say is toward it you go ahead and put on that greeting card right here, a Happy Father's Day, Daddy, right here, and then you have right here is like a lot of designers would find this relevant, and like you start out with a big letter H right here for Happy Father's Day right here. So really, that do most designers find this to be real relevant whenever it comes to please continue reading. So, and a lot of times it's like you may think they do too, is to where you look at the first front page right here of a greeting card, but then you look right here on the side right here of a message right here, saying that today I would like to surprise you with something. Yeah, with something special. I'm like, I'll go ahead and include right here talking about today I would like to surprise you with something, with something special right here. And it don't really have to be special each and every time, but still that something special. But really that how do we think about that, talk about for special right here, and 102 is like something special right here, and so every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that, especially if it's on a greeting card, that, the first thing is first is that you want to go ahead and you go ahead and start typing something on a greeting card, right? But what do you usually do whenever you do start running out of space right here? And like a lot of designers would even say too, that is to where that they find that to be real relevant whenever it comes to prototype, right? That that whenever you think about that, then you're warned to where, that whenever it comes to prototype, you're trying to fit all these text into that column right there, for on that document, and it's like only about maybe 2 sentences something like this. But why do you think why do you think like a lot of designers might even say too that why do you think that they would start out the sentence with a real big capital letter right there, with a real big capital letter right there, and along with the rest of it right here. And like any designer might even say that to where that yeah, you would do that just because of the fact that yeah, something something that kind of captures your attention, but then like everybody else might say that you see that a lot, quite a bit, to where you see you see a big H right here. It's not just the capital H, but then also you see APPY right here for Happy Father's Day right here, and you see a few of these other bigger letters, and you're 102. Really, what's that all about? And do we all think about that? Like talking about maybe for a greeting card, is that it's another way of how you want to cause as to where that yeah, I would like to surprise you with something. Like another word of how you want to cause, like yeah, you would go ahead and write it like this right here, so that way you can surprise Dad with something, right? And so it's like you would write it in like in a type of way like this, and like everybody says, toward yeah, you want to think of a way of how to impress Daddy with something, and it's like yeah. So a lot of ways, it's like yeah, you go and include a painting right here. And then you may ask Daddy to go ahead and close his eyes, and if anything, yeah, you mind if I just close one eye, and so that way I can see what you're doing, and so really it's like so each time you think about that, and you're wondering that that okay, yeah, that whenever it comes to showing Daddy something for sure, in case that they're trying to peek or anything like that, anything that you're trying to show them. So it's like, yeah, so every time you think about that, it's like, yeah, Daddy, for sure, you asked Daddy not to look, but it's like, you had, like, yeah, you have one page right here that shows toward that, yeah, you and Daddy, were talking about something, and you and Daddy were working on something, but then at the right page right here shows right here is that, yeah, what's next to come or something like that. So it's like, so every time you think about that, the first and second pages right here, and you're thinking this toward, okay, yeah, that whenever it comes to understanding about a greeting card for sure, that you're warned to where that Happy Father's Day right here, and then you have right here talking about Happy Father's Day today. I would like to surprise you with something special. I was working on this for you, and I wanted to surprise you with something. And so I have right here talking about college degrees, and like everybody says, to where that if you're going to be writing in any sorts of sentence, and like everybody says, to where you go ahead and write it small, and maybe one of the reasons is because you don't want I don't want Daddy looking at it right away. I would like to surprise him, so you would actually, yeah, a college degree is more than just higher education, but then it's also about the fact about that the equal, yeah, talk about for the study hours. Yeah, the study hours tell you something special. What special is that? Well, that it is all about what have you learned from those hours. What have you learned? Yeah, what have you learned since you started? So it sure seems that way that that every time you start a conversation like that, and I'll go ahead and zoom in right here so we can see that. But really, that almost every conversation that you have with daddy, I'm like, it could be with mommy, it could be with daddy, but still, it's like, so every time you think about that, and 102, that yeah, you get into these conversations a lot of times talking about college study hours and college education, right? And you're warned to where that since you started working on the process for sure, that it's like you're warned to where, okay, yeah, that a college degree is more than just for a higher education, but it is also about your ability of skill, and then also this is how someone is able to recognize the effect of your studies, and so it's like so yeah, so it sure seems that way that when we do talk about a college degree, right, we're also talking about that the fact about since whenever you started, since you started, and so it sure seems that way that don't do we do you think that maybe that we could maybe encourage our children to like, yeah, do the studies about that since you started, that how much progress was made since you started, and and your ability for what you learned since you started, and so it sure seems that way that that every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that that whenever something seems so easily, and okay, yeah, something looks so easy whenever you watch you watch somebody else put it together, okay, yeah, you go ahead and see somebody working on something for sure, and you might even tell daddy that yeah, daddy, that this is how I'm like whenever you watch somebody do something, whenever you watch somebody work on something for sure, that's why that you got a little bit more into that skill, and so it sure seems that way that yeah. But if we're talking about Father's Day for sure, we're talking about is to where you want to go ahead and show daddy something, and show dad something, or show mom something for Mother's Day, and so it sure seems that way that when we talk about a college degree, right, since you started, and so it's like, yeah, since you started though, and so if you would actually look at that in like a placement for like a greeting card right here, so this right here was supposed to be like an example right here for a greeting card right here, but that's something I always want to talk about right here, talking about whenever it comes to writing though, that you have right here is the capital. You have a big letter right here, and along with the rest of the writing right here. And then you have right here on the top of the page right here, talking about with this endorsement right here, and so it's like, yeah, so it's like whenever we talk about closing our eyes, and whenever we do talk about opening our eyes, and it's like, yeah, so it's like so whenever you think about that in a lot of ways, it's like yeah, that you have your parents have their eyes closed while just to be able to surprise just so that way the children will be able to surprise the parents, right? But it sure seems that way. Everybody would say is toward it, yeah, that why do you think that yeah, everybody might say is toward it, in order for you to be able to surprise somebody for sure, is toward it, yeah, they cannot look, they cannot be looking, they can't peek, while you're working on something. So it sure seems that way that yeah, like everybody might even say that that really that if you really wanted to surprise daddy with something for next year for sure, or something that you're working on, but it's like every time you do think about that, and you're warned to where that really that you want to go ahead and surprise dad with somebody with something, and 102 that yeah, talk about for credits and references, and also anything that's recommended, yeah, at convenience, but still, like everybody might say that when we do speak about politics, by the way, that you're thinking is toward it, that yeah, could you please show me, what you're doing, show me what you're working with, and So that's why I came up with this idea right here. Talk about for the Obama family right here, and knowing about talk about for college education, right? But it's like, yeah, talk about for greeting cards right here, but and then you have right here talking about for closing your eyes, you blinking your eyes, and talk about for credits right here. So it's like, yeah, so what does that really show anybody? Whenever you do close your eyes and whenever you open your eyes, for whenever you close your eyes and whenever you open your eyes, and everybody says toward it, well, really, that it's another way of how to impress daddy with something and surprise daddy with something, and like, yeah, ways of how you can, you're able to show somebody something, and so it's like, so each time you think about that, and you're want to know too that when we do talk about that for Father's Day right here, and then talking about surprises, right, and yeah, since you started, and so it's like, yeah, so it's like so every time you think about that, and you're want to know too that you put together right here this and I don't know if everybody has seen this right here, but talking about for Father's Day for Obama right here, and like this right here, I was just thinking too, if I want to go ahead and use this right here as an example right here, for a logo design, for a logo, and talking about for Father's Day, but like everybody says to word it, yeah, that whenever it comes to Happy Father's Day, Daddy, right here today, I would like to surprise you with something special, and so yeah, that like having a what have you learned, and so yeah, so it's like so each time you do think about that, and everybody might even say is toward it that while you're working on something for sure, but you're one too that do you think that daddy or maybe mommy are going to maybe asking you to where that hey, I was not able to see all this that you put together right here. I didn't see this part right here on the card right here. So yeah, so every time you do think about that, and you always want to know too that that whenever you're going to be yeah, like people might say is toward it, well, mommy and daddy they didn't go to college to do that same stuff that you have, so that's why it seems like everybody might say is toward it could you please show me what you're working on? And so that's why it seems like, mommy, daddy, I'm like, they're going to maybe say is for that, can you please show me what you're doing? Because, yeah, I didn't go to school to learn, yeah, I didn't go to college to learn that part of the degree. And so that's why it seems like, everybody might say is toward, yeah, mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy, they went to school, but they didn't study the same thing from what the daughter and what the son has, and so that's another. It's just another reason to, like everybody says, to where whenever you think about Father's Day for sure, whenever you think about Father's Day, it seems like it's to where that yeah, daddy, yeah, daddy don't have the same. He don't have the same degree, so that's why he's going to ask you to show him some of that stuff that you're working on. So that's why it seems like everybody might say is to where that, yeah, whenever you do think about the President of the United States, and it's like, you want to know too that, yeah, Mr. President, what do you think about that? Whenever you have, your daughter, whenever you have your daughter, you got your children, you got your son and your daughter who went to college. They went to college, but they did not study the same thing that you studied. And so that's why it seems like that, every year, whenever you think about that is toward, yeah, daddy, daddy, he went to college, but he didn't study the same thing that you studied. And so that's why it seems like, that's why it seems like that, you got daddy and you got mommy right there who want to be curious, and they're going to want to look at your stuff. They're going to want to look at your stuff and look at what you're doing. And like everybody says, to where, well, yeah, I didn't go to college to learn how to do that stuff. So that's why it seems like, every time you do think about that, you may want to know too that, yeah, daddy and mommy are not supposed to be looking at what you're working on just because it's supposed to be a surprise or something like that. And so that's why it seems like, if you put together a greeting card right here, but like everybody says, to where if you were to present a greeting card, it's like something like this right here that shows like a family picture right here in 102 is to where that yeah, every year around the holidays, especially around Christmas time, that you might even have that to where that daddy was actually looking at some of the work that you were doing just because that he's got yeah, I went to college. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, honey. I did go to college, but I didn't learn that part of the study. And so that's why it seems like that whenever you do talk to anybody who they got a daughter or they have a son that went to college and they were studying something different from what you were studying, and that's why it seems like that part to where yeah, college degree, but like everybody says, to where yeah, not every college education is going to be the same. So that's why it seems like you're going to have mommy and daddy. They're going to be looking at your stuff, and sometimes they're going to be looking at it without your permission. And that's why it seems like you just have to kind of tell mommy and daddy that mommy, that's yeah, mommy and daddy, yeah, mommy and daddy, yeah, that's that's mine. That's mine, or that's my work. And so every time you do think about that, and you're always want to know too, that what are the good chances that mommy and daddy are going to be looking at your stuff, without your permission, and especially if they're going to be curious to know. But like everybody might say, is toward it. Well, really, that you know, try to think about mommy and daddy as to where they want to just look at it just because that yeah, I went to school, but I didn't study the same thing that you studied. And so now you had this now you had this this situation to where that you got mommy and daddy looking at your work, and let's just say if it's not the same thing as what you were studying, and for sure that they're going to have yeah, you're going to have mommy and daddy looking at your stuff and snooping, and like yeah, being curious and looking around. And so that's why it seems like that yeah, that you look at a greeting card and people might say is toward it, yeah, I don't know how to do that. Can you please show me, how you did that? And so that's why it seems like every year on Father's Day, you just want to look at that as to where it's another, tradition to where you want to show mommy something and you want to show daddy something every year. Whenever Mother's Day and whenever Father's Day comes around, that it's like you have mommy and daddy. They're going to be looking at the stuff that you went to college for, right? You're going to have mommy looking at your work. Looking at some of that work, and so that's why it seems like every year whenever you do think about it, that you're going to have mommy and daddy. You're going to ask mom to close her eyes, and you would like to give her a surprise, and you would like to ask dad to close his eyes, and you would like to give him a surprise. And so it's like, yeah, you go ahead and you paint the pictures of both of your parents closing your eyes, but then the two daughters. You had the two daughters right here. So like, let's just say this is a family picture right here. This right here is supposed to be a family picture right here, and 102 is toward if you want to go ahead and show mommy something and show daddy something. And but it's like, yeah, the stuff that you studied in school, right? And people might say is toward it, yeah, I went to college, but it's not the same thing as what you were studying. And so that's why it seems like that, every time you think about mommy and daddy, though, and you're 102, is that, could you please show me what you're doing? I would like to see it. And maybe that's another reason why that people might say is toward it, yeah, you got people who endorse you for a skill. Something that you're working on, right? And you 102 that, yeah, the family photo and maybe, yeah, on something on the greeting card, but every time you think about that, and you're always thinking too, yeah, what does endorsement mean? It's your early convenience, and it's another way of how you want to share your. I'm like, yeah, it's another way of how to speak. I'm like, oh yeah, And I can go and put that on here too. We're talking about, spread it. I'm like, sharing, mentioning. I'm like, it's another way of how to mention your skill to somebody else. Yeah, mention your work. Yeah, the great mention. I can put on here a great mention. So every time you think about that, and you want to know too that you're now going to have it to where mommy and daddy both are going to be looking at your work and getting kind of nosy and looking at your work and looking through your files and maybe looking through the collage of projects that you put together. And 102 that mom, dad, and so it's like so every time you think about that, and you're 102, there's toward you would like to surprise mommy with something and surprise daddy with something, right? But like especially for Father's Day, that it's like but daddy, he didn't go to college to learn that source of study. So like everybody might say that whenever you do think about Father's Day for sure, that you would maybe think as to where you go ahead and spend the time to show daddy something that you went to school for, and you made them something, and a lot of the hard work that they were putting together, right? And even like everybody say, if it's a cookbook or something like that, a cookbook or something that you made, and something that you made for them, but really that everybody might say that especially if it's going to be the language, like any language or anything like that, anything in writing, but you got the daughters right here, but they might even say too that they want to go in and impress daddy with something, and Sasha and Malia, and you want to know too is toward it. One of these days, whenever you kids grow up, that you'll understand a little bit more about you'll understand a lot of that stuff what mommy and daddy had to take care of, and but it's like so every time you think about that and you're 102, that don't you think that there would be a greeting card for something like that? Don't you think that there would be a greeting card, for something like a greeting card that shows something like that Happy Father's Day, Daddy, or something. Something that talks about On a greeting card, you can go ahead and put on there that this is what I would like to show my daddy. Something from the kids or something like that. The grandkids. I'm like if you're going to have a holiday one of these days, and people might say that if you're going to have a special occasion one of these days, you would like to know too is toward it. Why don't they have like what you call for the American people, America, I'm like, they got America's Got Talent and all that, but, you're always 102 that, a day where you can actually show your parents something interesting. And, like everybody might say, is to where, well, really, there's Father's Day and there's also Mother's Day, right? But, every time you do think about that, and you're always 102 that, your children, your son, your daughter, they went to college too, but their studies are different from what you studied. So that it seems like a lot of times that you're always thinking about that, is to where that each time you think about that particular study, right? And 102 is to where those studies are just a little bit different from yours. And that is why it seems like that is toward that you got the mommy and daddy, mommy and daddy who are going to be looking at your work, and sometimes it's like they're going to look at your collage of what you have put together, and 102 that on a greeting card, but you're always 102 is to where you got mommy and daddy blinking their eye right here. And at 102 is toward it really. What does that really tell anybody whenever parents do that? They wink their eye at you, and 102 that they're telling you is toward it. good, smart. Is it smart? I'm like, yeah, smart choices and great mention based on your work, and great mention based on your work. But another, I'm like, yeah, whenever you wink, yeah, twinkle your eye. Whenever you, twinkle your eye, and that everybody might say that if you want to go ahead and include that right there. Do you want to go ahead and make that bigger or here? Let me see if I, twinkle your eye. Yeah, twinkle, just like the stars, right? To twinkle, I know that, yeah, twinkle, I'm trying to say twinkle here. Yeah, the twinkle. Yeah, twinkle your eye. You know, to see, yeah, to you may not even have to do that, but like everybody might even say too that almost all the time, whenever you do think about that, every time you do think about that in your 102s, to where that if somebody is going to be giving you a surprise for sure, they're going to ask you to go ahead and please close your eyes, and so that way we can go ahead. I'm like, yeah, and no peeking, by the way, no peeking, but close your eyes. I'd like to give you a surprise, and so what does that mean whenever you close your eyes? And I have right here, you got right here is mommy and daddy with their eye closed right here, but it's like but every time you think about that, and you're warning to her that while you're working on something for sure, that you have somebody that's going to be looking at your work and at 102s to where mommy and daddy, they didn't go to college to learn that source of study, so that's why that while you're working on something for sure, you're going to maybe have mommy and daddy looking at what you're doing. And so that's why it seems like, everybody might say that, you have that to where that maybe every year on Father's Day, that you're going to have that to where that if you want to show daddy something, if you want to show mommy something for sure, you can go ahead and show them something that you something that you learned, from school or something like that, or, based on your study hours, right? And, but it's like, each time you do think about that, like the top up for endorsement, right? But I thought I'd go ahead and show everybody here, this right here, just because of the fact that, whenever it comes to, whenever it comes to the language, I'm like, the study about the stories and words and other phrases, but still, it's like Happy Father's Day for for the Obamas right here, and so it's like so every time I think about this, I was just thinking too that that you have a especially if you have an older sister, an older daughter, everybody might say that I'm trying to remember, who's the oldest here, but I don't know if it's. I think it might be Malia who's the oldest, but you got right here is the daughters, for President Obama right here, but still, it's like each time you think about that in 102, that one of the daughters, two of the daughters, that they went to college and then they were studying something quite different than what daddy was studying, and so that's why it seems like everybody might say that every year on Father's Day that you talk to your daughter, and she's going to say that my study was different from what you were studying, and so that's why it seems like the first thing that you think about whenever you have these conversations with your daughter, or maybe with the cousin, or whoever that you're talking to, and second is to where you have these conversations, and it's like, would you please show me what you're talking about? And so this right here, kind of like an infographic, but it's mainly like, for example, for a greeting card. But I just want to show everybody here, this right here, talking about whenever it comes to whenever it comes to endorsements, and but then also whenever it comes to on a greeting card, you have it here for Happy Father's Day right here. And so it sure seems that way that today I wanted today I would like to surprise you with something special and talk about for what you went to college for, right? And so that's why since you started and all that, and but anyway, but I thought I'd go ahead and show everybody here. I'll talk about for the Father's Day, card right here, talking about with a, the talk about the college degree. A college degree is not just for higher education, but it is also about your ability of what you learned, since you started, and of course I'm like, so each time you do think about that, and you're one of too that you're gonna have that to where that mommy and daddy, I'm like, are gonna ask you to show me. I'm like, if you could show me, how you did that, and so you have right here's the painting right here, for Happy Father's Day for Obama right here, and want to know too that their children went to college, their children went to college, but it's not the same study as what you were studying. So it's like, everybody might say is to where that, for sure, if you're going to talk about something, with mommy, and if you're going to talk about something with daddy, you can go ahead and just show them some of the work that for what you went to college for. And then what I say is to where, you want to go ahead and surprise, you want to go ahead and show them something. Teach them something. You want to teach them something. And, just like the stuff that you learned, and but still. But on the other hand, it's like when we do talk about Father's Day, by the way, and when we do talk about Father's Day, that you're wondering toward why do designers find that to be relevant right there? Talk about for the capital right there, with a big letter right there. I guess if it's the typographical type style or something like that is how that works. For Happy Father's Day, Daddy, right here, and then I also want to talk. I also want to include right here. I'm talking about June, and I'll go and put the date right here just because. June of 2023 right here. So it's like for June of 2023, and so everybody, I'm like everybody might even say too that that if you're gonna be talking to daddy, or if you're gonna show them something, and 102 that this is what you're working on, that for next year, that this is supposed to it's a Father's Day gift that I would like to give to my daddy, for next year, or something that I'm like something I'm working on right here, and so you have right here I talk about for June of 2023 right here. And like everybody says to where you whenever you do think about that, and 102 that you think about that is toward it if you want to look at it like a goal, but I also want to think about that is toward it what sorts of whenever it comes to understanding about language on for a greeting card and all that, but it's like but just showing right here, talk about since you started it, that this is what you're working on. So I know with me though that each time I think about that, I also think about that is toward that that whenever you are going to be talking to mommy and talking to daddy about something, that you start a conversation right here, but then you go ahead and respond like to where that that I went to college, but then the more. But understanding about your college studies, right? But then also that whenever it comes to understanding about is toward talking about the things that you see that maybe that not everybody else can see, right? And so I guess that that's the whole purpose about it, and at the time it's like if I want to go ahead and include that, the things what yeah, the things, yeah, not everyone else, not everyone else can see that. And so sure, I'm like, yeah, what you're thinking about, that not everybody else can, I'm like, yeah, if you want to go ahead and include a comma right there, but still, just how that's written, in a lot of ways, it's like, when we do talk about a greeting card, especially, that really, that there's another professional way of how to do that, but like everybody says, to where if you were to start out a sentence like this right here, and like everybody say, yeah, well, number one, that a lot of designers would find this real relevant just because that you go ahead and look at about one or two pictures right here, and then right here on the right side of the page right here, yeah, please continue reading right here, and I know a lot of designers would say that they find that to be really relevant, by the way, just because of the fact that, whenever you're working on something, you go ahead and show mommy and daddy something right here. You show them a painting, a picture right here, but then on the right side you include about three or four characters. Happy Father's Day. This is something for you, and so yeah, so it's like so each time you think about that, and you're warned to where that you start out a sentence right here, but why do you think that you would include a real big letter right here on the front part right here of the lettering? And I guess Samamamium Pro or something like that. That's just how the prototype is all put together right there. But it's like so each time I think about that, it sure seems that way. That yeah. Well, another reason why designers do that, by the way, I think so that way it would fit the columns right there. So that way it would fit the columns, and another way of how you want to call it, for a certain prototype style or something like that. But still, it's like, so each time you do think about that in 102, that, whenever mommy and daddy are going to be looking at the front cover of a greeting card right here, the only thing that they really see is maybe it's something that says Happy Father's Day, but everybody might say is to where, details inside or something like that. Everybody might say that, based on your experience, by the way, see inside. Yeah, see inside for details. Yeah, see inside for more details right here. So it's like, so if you were to put that, so if you were to write like that right there, and 102, that, okay, that you look at the front cover of something, see inside for details. So if that right there, so if that right there, like everybody say that, these right here are supposed to be coupons, Daddy, and so so it's like so the first thing that comes to your mind whenever you do see something like this is a greeting card, right? But then it's like let's just say that if you do tell Daddy, of course, that these are coupons. I put this together. I was putting this together, and I did this for you, and so that's like everybody might say is to where talk about for you, and so it's like so every time you think about that, and you're always 102 that you think about a greeting card for a Father's Day card, right? And you're warned to where that you don't see everything right away, and that's why it seems like that you give Daddy a greeting card, and let's just say that they see right here is for you right here, and I'm like it's usually on the right side right here. People might say that if you want to go ahead and put that right here on the right, it's usually labeled on the right side right there, and but kind of like that right there. For you. For you, see inside for details. So if you were to actually write it like that, and like everybody say that, every time you do look at something like that in 102, that Yeah, that's one way. I guess that is one way of how you can surprise somebody for sure. You go ahead and everybody say if you maybe if you want to go and give that a try, that you want to include include a front cover of something. If you want to surprise somebody with something for sure, you go ahead and show them. You include a front cover right here, and then they see this right here to word it for you. See inside for details right here. So it's like so you put this together for your dad right here, and like everybody say that if you would have surprised Daddy for anything that you're working on, and you would include something like that to where that you remember that family picture right here. That was around Christmas time. Yeah, that was around Christmas time whenever that picture was taken right there in front of the Christmas tree right there, and then you include like a little typographical type of image right here, like a little logo right here that shows see inside for details, something like that. And but still, like anything about advertising or anything, but like everybody say that whenever you do think about a greeting card, especially for Father's Day, talk about for the president, and in 102 that how often is it okay for mommy and daddy to be looking at your stuff even while you're not, like, they're gonna go ahead and be looking at your stuff, going through your stuff and looking at your projects and everything. But like everybody might even say too that well, mommy and daddy, they didn't study the same thing that you studied, so each year or so you can go ahead and show them that. You can go ahead and show them some of the work that you put together, right? And 102 that some of that work that you put together, talk about for a greeting card, and 102 that that stuff that you put together, right? But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Like I talk about for you right here, for Happy Father's Day. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.